Hey everybody, it's been a while since we got some videos posted, so I kind of catch up on where we're at here. We've been really busy here over the last couple of weeks, so much so that it seemed like every time I got something going I didn't have my camera with me. So let me just catch you up here over the last couple of weeks of work. So when we left off, we were tracking down leaks and so forth. The big main leak was here in the Durade vent on both sides, and like I said, I posted previously, I thought that since the metal parts weren't sealed, that it was basically catching and running in there, but it turns out to be much worse than that. It was actually see if I can get my camera out here so I can show you. Get up here so I can see what I'm showing you here. Alright, so the base there is it's teak. It's sculptured or sculpted to fit the curvature of the cabin top quite closely. The problem is that in 1980 it was bedded with bedding compound, and over the last almost 40 years all of that completely dried out. It's never been resealed. So although my initial test showed no leaks up there after I did my repair, it was actually quite extensive. And if you see here, which is kind of bad, the staining is actually from all of the bleach and everything that I used up in here to get all of that mildew and all that junk cleaned up. We had a terrible rainstorm, and since, like I said, I didn't properly catch the leak, it ran all of those all the bleach and stuff and essentially the mildew out of the foam. So this is foam here, and right into the edge of my my paneling. The good news is that my trim is going to cover that up, or nearly cover it up. So although it's certainly not optimal, it's not the end of the world either, so we're pressing on. Okay, so essentially the main cabin, the cabin hatches and stuff, all sealed up, everything's watertight. This is a brand new port light that came with the boat. I installed that. So the dogs and everything on that, the dogs are working great. I've had all of those guys in. And had quite a bit of rain, and I'm not getting any leaks from the port lights. Okay, so next step was actually back aft here, the little wiring stuff here, but in the main stateroom, I came back after, you know, the happy times of finding all the leaks and getting them all stopped and stuff. I came back in here and looked, and lo and behold, there was a puddle of water down here. And there's a little trim piece of 1/4-inch plywood that runs the length of that joint between the hull and the bunk. Kind of see the outline here. Let me get in here a little bit closer. So I haven't cleaned this up yet, but the bottom line on that is that you see the line here. Essentially there's a small piece of 1/4-inch plywood that just lays on top of this and provides a dressed edge so that you're not looking at this woven roving, and it'll be much cleaner. So as with the rest of the boat, the liner, you can see here I cut the liner back. I came in here, and lo and behold, like I said, I had a big puddle of water here that had been sitting there for some time. And I said, shoot, that really made me mad because thought I dug myself out of this mess. But I said, well, I'm going to find out where it is. I pulled all this junk out. Then I went up with my 5-gallon bucket and just dumped bucket after bucket up here in the area of the drain and so forth, and the whole deck joint, the cap rail, and all that stuff. Came back down here, dry as a bone. I'm going, well, that's not good, because that means that the leak is way you know, somewhere far away, up here somewhere, you know, and essentially working its way back down and dripping, or so I thought. So I went off to do something else. I was, you know, picking stuff up or carrying stuff up. Came back down, and lo and behold, there were some drips right here in this area right here. Right where all of this liner was all rotted out down below about this area right here. Well, it turns out here's what the problem was. This is like a big radiator hose, about 1 inch and 7/8, or maybe even, well, probably 1 inch and 7/8. Radiator hose. It's a reinforced, essentially a rubber hose with a metal webbing in there to stop it from collapsing when it makes a sharp turn, because it's making a 90-degree bend. And what had happened is that there was a scuff mark, or either they'd scratched it when they put this thing in, or you know, somebody bumped it with something. Normally there's a big cover that goes over this. So anyway, it'd been there for quite some. So what had happened was, sure enough, the hose had like a little pinhole leak there, and it was wet. And now, you know, the purist would say, well, you know, get rid of that damn thing. The problem is that it's 40 years old. It's like a rock. I'd have to cut it off with essentially a Dremel tool or Sawzall. And there's nothing to say that I won't break, you know, these plastic fittings, although they're, or Delrin or whatever they are, they get brittle as well. So anyway, so rather than try that, I got some JB Weld plastic, liquid plastic, and it's like $6 at AutoZone. Mixed it up good and coated this and pushed it in real good into where the little crease was. And so I'll go back out and repeat my leak test with the same amount of water and so forth. And plus we've got some rain coming, so that'll give me a bit of opportunity. But I'm pretty confident. But I'm not going to make the mistake I made last time by covering all this stuff back up before I had a chance to do the full tilt boogie on the rain. That was a very expensive mistake on my part. And while I was down here, I pulled all this junk out. I've replaced all these ledger boards, which are essentially just they're just glued to the hull. You know, it's just little 1/4-inch strips of plywood, and it's just something for you to screw with very, very small screws. That's what you attach your siding to that. And if you see up here, there's a good look at the whole deck joint that I talked about in my earlier videos. You see those 1/4 bolts. I mean, there's one every 5 feet or 5 or 6 inches. And then there's sail tracks and all that stuff like that, and all those are through bolted. And then the problem was over the years that, you know, essentially they just worked loose. So these are all snugged up as far up there as I could reach, and all the way back here. That's the AC power coming in. I still got a lot of work to do on the AC power. That kind of brings me up to where I'm at right now, which is let me switch back around here. Oh, this probably won't come out right because of the brightness. But let me see, yeah, so I can meter on that. There is the last port light. And as you can see, it's you know, essentially 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 plywood, teak plywood. God, I wouldn't want to try and replace that these days. And then the physical skin of the cockpit. So there's a big gap there. So unlike the other guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a kind of a light seal around the inside of this guy. But what I'm going to do is on the outside where the spigot is and stuff, I'm going to do my heavy caulking and stuff from the outside, forcing the caulk in all around that crack where the fiberglass is, and then when I put my trim ring on there, it'll compress that and push it in. Because really the only way that this would leak into the cabin is actually through that exterior, obviously through that exterior connection there, and as opposed to the other times where I was trying to prevent the water from intruding into the side and into the liner. Here I'm not concerned about that at all, because if I get any indication of the leak, it's going to come out. It's going to come out down here, and I'll be able to go back in and double check that if required. But I don't think it's going to be a big issue. More tour of the boat here. That's the on the backrest, the cockpit little cubby holes where your winch handles go and stuff like that. And above that is, you can see that's the backing plate for the winches. So the primary winches are going to be upgraded to self-tailers. I've got those. I haven't even thought about getting them going yet. But what I do is take this, that insert will come out from the outside. It's essentially just a shoebox that slides in from the outside, and when you take the trim ring off, that whole thing comes loose, and then I'll have unfettered access to the backing plate. All right, so that's about it. Oh, cold here. Leg's not getting much better, but that hadn't stopped me from crawling around here on the boat and stuff. So I'm taking advantage of my limited mobility to do all the stuff that you can do when you have limited mobility. And hopefully here in the next few weeks my arm or my leg will improve. We did a bunch of checks on the VHF radio, and the Viswar and all that stuff looked okay. The power output was good. So I'm currently working on kind of cleaning up that whole installation there and getting a connector put on so that I can permanently mount the radio and get that done. And that is about it. There is one thing I've got. If you look out there, you see on that would be the port side, that where the towel is hanging down. That's a little storage locker there, a little lazarette locker. And I opened that thing up, and it was completely full of water, and all my lines and everything, or quite a good deal of my mooring lines and all that stuff were in there, dock lines, and it's kind of a mystery to me as to where that's filling up. I'll have to do a little bit more detective work. I'll let you know how that goes. So I'm going to sign off for now. I got a couple of videos here to post, and hopefully we'll get things going here. That's a lot of the headliner and all that stuff been pulled down. And you can see this is the condition of that stuff. Boy, pretty scrungy here. And all of this, where you see the dark stains like that, that's where waters come in and wash the dirt down behind those little, I don't know, whatever you call those little wood trim pieces there. Kind of a slat kind of a look. And then here, see on the bottom, that's all the rotten area there. That's where the water had come in for months and months and months and just essentially rotted that away. But that's going to get the white siding treatment, and again, that should brighten things up quite a bit. This is all going to be white siding over here, and then I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing over there so that both of the cabin sides match each other. All right? See you soon. Bye-bye.